4, 3, 2, 1. Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up.
Hi guys, welcome to Level Up with Lydia. I am your host, Lydia Navo. I am one of the owners of Level Up Consulting with David Palma, and this is our podcast to bring business owners business advice and advice for your business so that you can grow and be as successful as possible. And today I have one of my clients on. I think this is actually the first time I've had one of my clients on. You're my first client on here.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize
think.
that. Okay.
And so we have David Palma. So welcome, David, to the
Hi,
show.
nice to be here.
Super excited for you to be here. And you just got back from a conference, so I'm sure you're full of knowledge and excitement to talk about what you do. And
so it was more of a president's club. So it was one of those top producers kind of thing. So
nice.
It was definitely really great being with some of the heavy hitters throughout the country, and I really enjoyed it. So I did learn a lot, picking up some new things, and also got to share some of my own experiences and knowledges there, which was really refreshing to talk shop with people.
Awesome. And so why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit, you own Paid Processing, or one of the owners of Paid Processing. So tell us, what is that and how long you've been doing it? How'd you get into it?
Yeah, sure. So Paid Processing is a payment service company. So we do merchant services, credit card processing, POS, all the different ways people accept payments, whether it be by bank account transfer, credit cards, obviously the more popular one nowadays. 80% of payments throughout the world, including cash, are done through cards, and all the different systems that go with it. So anything that has to do with putting money into the business that's not a loan, it's what we do.
Okay.
I have been doing it myself since, I would say, 2014 for the banks, but Paid Processing started in 2018, and I left my job to do it full time with 0 customers in 2019. So been doing it, 7 years now, full time. And that's kind of where I've been at and how the company's grown over the years.
And not scary at all to leave your job and go full time into it.
Oh, it was probably the scariest moment, but it was very confident. I still remember conversation with my regional manager, because I was a branch manager in banking, and I was like, I'm quitting. And they're like, what's the offer? We'll match it. And I'm like,
there is no offer.
Yeah, I was like $0.00. Like, it wasn't even a where are you going? It's a what's the offer? I'm like $0.00. I'm starting my own company. And going from like 401k, health benefits, comfy hours, to literally nothing was probably one of the scariest moments that I will never regret ever in my career.
Yeah. So why? Why would you give up something comfy to do something unknown and scary?
You know, there's a list of reasons, but a lot of it came down to when I started in banking and I started selling this product, I started learning more and more. And it starts with sales. Like, it starts with, hey, this is what you need to know to sell it. The thing is, when it came to the banks, that's all they really taught you, is what you need to know to sell it. Mm-hmm. And, there's a lot of different things that happened to my customers that I didn't really agree with. Over time, I noticed there are rate increases, there are termination fees. I think one of the stories that sticks out most is I sold a mobile 5G terminal to a church. They got set up. They used it for 2 months and said, I don't like it. They paid $500 for this piece of equipment. And they said, we just kind of want to cancel it. And I said, sure, no problem. And the bank was like $495 for a termination fee. And kind of was like, there's a lot of reasons I could be labeled as a bad person, but charging that to a church isn't going to be one of them. Yeah. Just basically the morals that were behind the industry of what I was taught versus what you can actually do is one of the reasons I made the jump, is because I realized, hey, this is something that I can do the way I would like to do. For small business owners, because those were my favorite customers at the bank. Mortgages are fun, bank accounts are fun, investments are fun, but a business owner came in of any size, it's a good day.
Yeah.
So,
well, let's just start then. You starting your own business in the payment processing world. If somebody else wants to start a business in the same world, what would it be advice that you'd give them as a new business?
Mentorship, and not just one. Right. There's a lot of payment processing companies in this country. You see them all over. And they're always advertising about why they're the best. And there's a lot of people out there who will tell you why they're the best and really fact checking. I found a lot of some of our larger competitors don't want them talking to friendly competitors because they don't want them to know everything. They want to know what they're teaching them.
Sure.
So like being part of this, President's Club this past weekend, talking with people that believe with no rate increases, no termination fees, free equipment placement, and all the different things that have kind of brought the industry back in alignment, because a lot of payment processing doesn't have a great reputation. because of some of the contracts that are out there. So meeting those people that actually want to do things properly was super refreshing. And that's what I see the most of is people get taught what they're supposed to know and they don't know all the different ways. So talking to friendly competitors, talking to people, learning from them. I've mentored people myself. I've given advice to friendly competitors. It's one of those things that really does change how payments is going. And being educated in payments is one of the strongest things you can do if you want to get into payments and foster relationships with business owners, because
Sure.
you're not selling a product, you're building a relationship.
Yeah.
You're handling their payments for everything that comes into their business.
Yeah. Let's stick on the payment side of things before we switch into like business side of stuff. And so why would somebody use you or a company like you versus just going, I'll just sign up for Stripe or I'll just sign up for one of the big names that
Yeah.
you see on Google?
So, that is a great question because so many people would I call do a 2-hour research thing. They'll go to Google, they'll type in what's the best POS system? What do I do for this? And the thing is, these companies are putting a lot into SEO, which, hey, good for you. That's great marketing. But it doesn't really educate you. It just tells you this is the best. And then you have to try and puzzle piece it together for you. We do that aspect. So whether you're a bar, a restaurant, or doing invoicing in the trades or different things like that, yeah, you may Google and find something that could work, but is it the best solution? We're talking to business owners and actually having those conversations about what do you need? What do you like? What do you need to scale? How do you grow your revenue? How do you do different things? And having that kind of relationship is great. And also, we're going to be transparent. We're actually having a conversation with you. The person that talks to you when you sign up your account is the person who's going to be with you as your account grows. So it's not here's the salesperson and now you have a 1-800 support number. It is, here's your salesperson, the person that's going to get you set up, the person's going to answer your questions, the person's going to call and check in on you, the person you're going to text when you need something, all in one.
Yeah.
So it is very relationship based in the way we do things. So if you actually want a relationship with your systems and how you do things and how you interact with your customers when it comes to payment, talking to someone like me or paid processing is one of the key things in making sure you're growing and having that kind of service. When you're dealing with Stripe, you're going to call a 1-800 number.
Yeah.
And you're going to get some.
And depending on your business, there's some businesses, I mean, for instance, if our business, the payment system went down, could be a couple days, we'd be totally fine. But there's other businesses who make transactions every second of the day or every minute of the day. And when that goes down, they need someone right away. So having you to literally call or text and having that support versus sitting on the phone for a long time to get someone who then has to send you to somebody else and somebody else and somebody else, right? That's literally costing you.
And on top
profit.
of that, there are systems out there that I won't name their names, but they're basically setting up a business owner to learn it themselves.
Sure.
And then they become committed to that system because they've had to learn it themselves. Because when you do call, you're just getting a script. You don't have someone who actually understands what you're doing or how you're doing it or what softwares you're using. They just said, have you tried doing this? Have you tried doing that? Like the tech support, have you turned it off and turned it back on again? If you already have some level of competency, of course you've done it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have called you.
Right.
But sometimes that does work. I'm not saying turning it off and again, turning it back on doesn't work.
Yeah.
But actually having someone who knows how your business operates and having that person that from the beginning still being there towards the end and all the different processes is some of the key factors.
Yeah, for sure. What is the most important thing somebody should consider when it comes to having the right processing system for their business? And does every business even need one?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's still cash businesses out there. And I even have clients that are restaurants that still handwrite their orders. Yeah, believe it or not. Not exactly what I recommend personally, but every business is different. And actually talking to someone about what you need and what you don't need is super important. Otherwise, you're going to be investing a lot of time and money into something that you shouldn't. And also, not knowing all the options, I think, is even more dangerous. And sometimes we have a product that maybe could help boost sales. It's one of the bigger things that it's worth it. I think one of my favorite Zig Ziglar quotes is, "Would you rather pay less?" Sorry. Would you rather pay more than you expected or less than you should have?
Mm.
Because if you are paying more than you expected for something that will actually be placed in there. No, we do free placements all the time.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, it might be worth it for your business to actually understand where your points are and values are for what you actually need, and actually talking about someone about your business. Business owners love doing that.
Yeah.
And versus, this is what I'm getting because I signed up for it, and now I got to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah. And on the payment processing still, you mentioned a system that could boost sales. So in my mind, payment processing is you're just taking money. So how do you actually help business owners boost sales? Like what other things can you offer business owners?
Yeah. So that's a great question. It all comes down to what they're doing. So I talk to restaurant owners about, hey, there is guest-led ordering, which is like the QR code or the taps or the self-service, where people might customize a little bit more. Same with their online ordering. Different things where we've had businesses that did have POS systems, but they said, hey, our problem was employee retention. I said, awesome. We're going to actually add customer facing displays and give the person the option to tip that way versus just the tip jar or writing it on a receipt.
Gotcha.
Towards faster, quicker decisions. And some people are against that. But at the end of the day, there is the no tip button.
Sure.
But this actually improved their employee retention. So their employees were getting paid more at the end of the day. So it helped increase what they're bringing in for their employees, lowering their retention, spending less time in training, and all the different things with that. So it's not just a, hey, what will it do with the system wise? It's, hey, this is the life and soul of the business.
The company, yeah.
When it comes to invoicing, if you're looking to have options for add-on services or let the customer guide themselves through it and the different things that go with that, auto payments, all the different ways of, and even just cutting their processing costs. There's ways to increase that revenue, reduce the expenses and increase the revenue that you're actually producing. So having those options that give customers options to sell themselves,
Sure,
is a big thing. Whether it's opening new avenues, online ordering, online payments, text invoices. Believe it or not, yes, email invoicing is great, but texting actually has a faster net on payment whenever you actually text it to their phone versus sending it to an email, because they look at it, especially if it takes Apple Pay and Google Pay, it's already on their phone. They just have to double tap and boom, it's paid. So those kinds of things are things we're going to think about and talk about if that's what your struggle is. If you're having a net 60 versus a net 30 versus a net 10, we're going to look at how to close that gap in your collections and your accounts receivables.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, so it's not just collecting payments. It affects the entire business.
Exactly.
From employees to marketing to everything, really. Okay.
Really
awesome.
does.
So let's take a little switch to the business side of things.
Yeah.
Right. So you've been doing this for quite a few years now, ups and downs. Tell us about maybe let's talk about the biggest success first. Biggest success. What is your biggest high point? What is something you like to share that?
Yeah. So I always think of my main guy over in New York. He came from another company that their main thing was bonuses and their W-2, and it wasn't really that profitable for him. But he stuck with them for 2 years. He got his basic education, and then he said, hey, I want to come work with you. I still remember I took him out to dinner after within 1 year, we got his residuals to him making 6 figures in residual income a year.
Awesome.
So being able to do that in 1 year and talk to someone about their sales and the different things that they were doing and expanding their products and their knowledge and how they were doing things was one of the biggest successes in my mind, because it wasn't even my success. It was me sharing and talking with someone about their growth and seeing them succeed.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that's one of the things about business ownership is a lot of, if you're going to be a successful business owner, it's not about yourself in the end. In the end, it's about your team, it's about your clients, and that's how I'd have to see it. If you're coming from a selfish point, then you're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah. No, it definitely makes a difference when you're seeing someone else grow. I mean, there's so many successes from client growth to mentoring, but my personal favorite is that employee.
What's your best client results that you've gotten or client growth?
I mean, I would say it was very a relationship building thing. I actually ran during the pandemic, $100 ad on Instagram and Facebook to just offer online ordering to local, literally had a 5-mile radius. And I actually got a restaurant client just for online ordering. And does that pay a lot? No, it's a very small amount of their sales. They were just trying it out. They actually referred me to 4 people. Then after a while, we took over the processing in their business. And then after that, about 8 months after our initial contact, we actually swapped out their whole entire POS system.
Oh, nice.
And it ended up this client referring us 10 clients in total.
Awesome.
So it was one of those things of we built such a relationship and doing a good job that it wasn't like a asking. It was him telling people.
Like, you're using this person. Yeah.
You
They're
have to use this
advocating for you.
person. And that is such a personal success of being able to do such a good job that they go home to their family at the kitchen table and they have to talk about it, or out and about and like, hey, this is the person, you got to talk with them because they helped me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, getting your clients to become advocates for you is utmost importance.
100%.
All right, so now let's talk about the flip side.
Okay.
Down points. Is there a time where I think we all have considered maybe quitting or trying something different, or man, I just had enough? So is there a time you've considered doing that, and what happened?
100%. I feel like that's just normal for an entrepreneur, to have those points where you're just like, I shouldn't do this. Where's the W-2 job?
Yeah.
And for me, it was always when like I didn't meet my own expectations. And the thing I always had to remind myself is I'm feeling this because I care. I'm feeling like I should just give up because I have an expectation of what I want to do for my clients and for the business, and just in general to actually hold that and take it personally when it happens. So if you're someone who handles those things and you're just like, whatever, I no shame to you, but I would care.
Yeah.
And, I consider that part of the normal process of caring, of feeling that defeat, whether it's business, relationship, or wherever it may be. If you care, sometimes you may think about quitting, but it's because you care, not because you want to quit.
Right. So how do you overcome that?
It really comes down to the basics and looking at your wins. And if you're learning from that, whatever triggered that response of, man, I want to quit. And you're like, well, this is what I learned from it. These are the mistakes I made. These are the amends I can make to make sure I'm doing things the way I wanted to do it in the first place. And sometimes those are expensive amends. And it's one of those things of, no, this is the way I wanted to do it. So going into that and actually saying, all right, I'm back on track. I've learned my lessons. I've learned from my mistakes. I'm not going to carry them forever. I'm going to continue to move forward because now I'm even better at what I did before this. Is the way I keep going.
Yeah. I mean, any failure or challenge definitely leads to learning experiences. I think something else I recommend to a lot of people is to keep that success log. As silly as it sounds, it's that little journal that you write down all your successes so that when you're having that hard day, you can go back and go, yes, this one thing is hard, or yes, I'm in a hard spot in the business, but look at all of these 100 successes I've had in the past year, or 500 successes I've had in the past 5 years. It's something to be able to go back to and say, it does work. I'm just in a hard part.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's a great thing to keep. Definitely, it sounds silly, but it's a little journal. Just write it, right? It helps. But awesome. Okay, and so other business advice. I know you do a lot of like networking, so let's talk a little bit about that and in generating business. So when it comes to marketing, what do you see being some of the key elements to getting business for yourself?
Yeah, actually, networking is great. And I think it builds relationships. I've always viewed networking as a resource for my clients.
Okay.
So I'm meeting people that help improve the relationship I have with my clients because I say, hey,
I know a guy.
I know a guy, I know a girl. They're going to help you.
Yeah.
Whereas I would say a lot of my personal clients come from my clients. I am not afraid at this point to ask, do you have any friendly competitors or neighbors or someone who you feel like we could help? Mm-hmm. We'd love to chat with them. There's no commitment, and just talking to them, my actually asking for those referrals and putting them, like I do try and make sure when I'm calling my customers, they don't see my name and think, oh no, something's wrong.
Right.
So,
or decline.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when I call my customers, it's usually for an update. There's a lot of times business owners are busy, and if something's wrong, they're not going to tell you.
Yeah.
And that's something some of those big companies will never do.
The fact that you just brought that out, because it actually is something that I haven't thought of recently, is that a lot of the times we don't hear from people unless there's a major update or something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I know you do this and a couple other people do it well, of just checking in.
Yeah.
so that they're not afraid to answer that phone call when it comes, and
Yeah.
they are more likely to have that conversation about referrals or other things.
And the number of times where it's a small handful where there's a small problem that they just haven't bothered telling me about that we can fix like that.
Sure. Well, while I have you on the line.
Yeah.
Before it becomes something big.
Exactly. So that way we're eliminating the frustration, but most of the time everything's peachy keen.
Sure.
And it gives the opportunity of like, hey, who do you know that we can help? So that's a lot of mine. Now I am looking to expand that. I know in our last coaching call, I'm looking to start door knocking.
So fun.
Yes. I have learned I have a decent system. I have good customer care and I know my products very well. I'm just not talking to enough people. So networking is great. Referral partners are great. But I have also know that a lot of business owners are running their business. So they're actually in their shop. They're not going to networking events.
Yeah.
So I'm making that little shift of I'm going to start going and talking to them.
As uncomfortable as it is, telemarketing and door knocking are still the two most effective ways to generate leads, but it is a numbers game and a rejection game. So as long as you're okay with rejection and activity, right? So a lot of people think, oh, door knocking is really effective or telemarketing is effective. I'm gonna make 5 calls and get a business owner to answer and say yes. No, you make 100 phone calls and you might get a yes, but it's effective when it's done in high volume and consistently.
100% agree.
So, awesome. And so networking, growing clients, and then you have a team. So you do have a team.
Yes.
Talk to me about team struggles, team challenges, team wins.
Yeah. There's always going to be a handful of all of those. I would say my team our team is very boutique. So we have different people in different areas here in Houston, New York, New Jersey, one guy who actually bounces to Maryland. There's always going to be team struggles and team wins. One of the struggles I see the most is usually motivation. A lot of what this industry is an eat what you kill. And sometimes it's hard to get out there to talk to business owners about switching. It is a residual income kind of business. So when it comes down to it, you are talking to business owners and not only do you have to get them to, actually feel like you are the right fit, you also have to keep them, right? If they're not happy with their service and they're no longer with you, you lose that income. So nothing's guaranteed. So when it comes down to it, a lot of the times it's just gaining the customers. So that motivation of life happens. It happens with me too, to where I have the option to take a break because I have residuals, right?
Yeah.
I feel like for me, the struggle I have with my team tends to be more of like, hey, sometimes you just kind of have to go out there and getting that motivation boost.
Get uncomfortable.
Yeah, they love what we do. They love the products. They've seen the downsides of this industry and why we're doing it differently with the no rate increases, no termination fees, and actually finding good solutions. But sometimes the door knocking, of getting in front of people, the networking, it's a lot of different things. I think some of the most rewarding is hearing those successes, I followed up with someone for 14 months.
Yeah.
And they finally signed up. And now we're doing their whole system and they're happy. Hearing the, hey, my customer's about to go in their busy season and I set up an appointment to prep them for it. Hearing those different things of how they're doing things the way, kind of how I morally do it. Because I've had people approach me to join my team that I didn't feel were the right fit.
Sure.
And we do have that certain personality of we're here to take care of our customers, not just sell. So that's kind of where I am at that.
Yeah, totally appreciate that. And you guys you can service anybody in the United States?
Yep.
Okay.
I have customers in Connecticut, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Florida, Louisiana, Texas. Those are currently. So
Okay.
I met someone this past weekend that has a customer in all 50 states. So that was very interesting. New gold add to my list.
Yeah. Start checking them off, a little map that you color in. And just as a plug for you guys, so I want you to talk to business owners who are listening. What is something that they need to maybe go look at, or what is the trigger for them to go, oh, maybe I should call David?
Yeah. A lot of the times business owners don't know what they're paying. A lot of times they signed up with someone that came to their door. The thing is that I stress a lot is the barrier to entry in the payments world is very low. Very, very low. Anyone can go out there and sell merchant services. The thing is most people don't know, which is why I kind of stress mentors. and talking to friendly competitors, talking to people who actually understand and want to make sure that they're doing things right, and not just one, because one will teach you what they do, multiple will show you what other people are doing versus what they're not doing, etc. Having that is some of the main things. So talking to someone like us who will review what you're actually signing before you sign, review different contracts, be aware of certain things. They say they're going to lease you equipment, you should run. If they say that there's a liquid damage clause, that's not normal.
Okay.
There's a lot of different things that are out there that kind of hold customers hostage. That's why, again, the way we do it, we do free placement. So we'll place the terminal for free. We just ask for it back. No cost to you if you decide to cancel. We don't increase your rates over time. And there's a month-to-month contract. So if you want to cancel, we're okay with that because we're going to do a good job. There's no need to, you know. I would hate to someone say I want to cancel and I'm like, oh, well, maybe in 3 years.
Right.
That's not the way we want to operate. We want to say, hey, how can we fix it?
Yeah.
You know, what's going on? Your terminal's not working. We're going to overnight you another one.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that kind of go into that of make sure you know what you're signing up for and what you're doing and let us review it because we're going to be straight with you. You know, I've told several clients that maybe based on what they're doing, this is a decent product that we don't offer. You should go there.
Anyways, yeah.
But not knowing is probably one of the most dangerous things of not being informed.
Yeah.
I think that's
or we think we're paying one thing when we're really because it's increased and you didn't know.
Oh, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Most banks and processors will do rate increases every 6 months.
And don't tell you because it's in the initial contract. So they don't have to.
Well, actually, it's usually in a little line on the back of one of your statements.
Okay.
So it doesn't even in your contract say they'll raise your rates. So say they can change the terms at any time. So they'll put it on the statement that, let's be honest, most merchants don't look at. On a little line that it's going to increase by this much on this day. There's a lot of major culprits out there that constantly do this. But I'm not going to name names, but that's one of the things to look out for.
Okay.
Industry experience. There's a lot of companies who just pick someone off the street. They're hiring everyone that applied on LinkedIn Jobs or ZipRecruiter or wherever it may be. And they send them out in the streets and they say, go sell to your friends and family. And they don't even know what they're signing up for.
They're selling. They're not providing a service. Yeah. And so just the last thing on that is if somebody, let's say they did sign up for whatever on their own, they're in some 3-year contract, should they still reach out to you? Can you help them get out of that?
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
are there things you do? So it's not like, hey, we're locked in. Let's wait till 3 years to talk.
There's always, I wouldn't say there's always a way out, but there's always a better situation.
Okay. So
an example would be, we saw a customer that signed for a Clover Mini, $70 a month, a 4-year contract. I don't know what the math is on that right now, but that piece of equipment is $600.
It's a lot more than $600.
Yeah.
Okay.
So within, again, it is actually 10 months that piece of equipment would have been paid for,
Right.
and they're in a 4-year
contract. Yeah.
On top of that, their rates were increased. They promised them to charge the customers, but then they charged more fees on top of that. And the way we looked at it is, hey, look, your processing's not locked, your hardware is locked. So you can pay the $70 a month and we're going to save you this much in your processing and you're still going to be in the green. And we're going to actually give it to you for free on a month-to-month contract, which means if you're not happy, you can give us back and you can keep using what you're doing. And they're still a customer to this day. And this is 2 years ago. So it's one of those things of, even if you are locked into something, there are workarounds. A competitor that sells point of sale systems mainly to restaurants, they lock them into some contracts that they charge them everything they would have made till the end of the contract if they try and cancel. And there's still loopholes in that. So because they raise rates, it's technically them changing their contract. So there are loopholes in that. We still like to have those conversations to educate and know what the options are whenever it is up, or if there's a way out of it beforehand.
And you don't charge anything for those conversations, and you don't charge anything for your service on additional to, it comes from the...
I like educating.
Right.
I think my industry, not a lot of people understand 100%. They understand the basics and what they're doing. And good, you should understand what you're doing. But there's a lot of nuances of what companies are doing, aren't doing, payment facilitator versus payment processor, which is a whole other conversation.
We don't get into that.
But there's a lot of things out there where I just like to educate, to be like, this is what applies to you. Here are your options. And let me know how you would like to see your business.
Right.
Yeah.
Because again, this isn't just collecting money. This affects the whole business, clients, team, everything. Okay, so this has been all really good. I want to go ahead and start to wrap up with our last question, which I don't think I even prepared you for.
Okay.
So we'll see. If there was one piece of advice that you could give to business owners to take action on today, that a year from now they'd look back and go, I am so happy I started that a year ago, what would that one piece of advice be?
Could you repeat that question? Yeah.
There's like one actionable thing. Like I could go sign up for a course. I could go, start cold calling. I could go do something today. I start today. A year from now, I look back and go, man, I am so happy I actually started that a year ago.
I would probably say finding balance, which I'm not the best at.
Hey, you can give advice with not being good at it. Trust me.
I would say having balance. Even me, sometimes I get caught up in learning versus selling.
Sure.
Sometimes I get caught up in admin versus marketing or whichever one, and I'll hyperfixate. And I think having that balance of I'm learning, I'm selling, I'm doing my admin, I'm doing my marketing. I'm going to use, 2 days a week where I'm just going to evaluate, what I'm paying for, what I'm not paying for, basically doing a rocket money scan of your business of like, is this service actually with it? And maybe not every 2 weeks, maybe if you haven't done it in a while, bit up, but having that balance of I need to make sure that I'm not just investing my time into what's in front of me because of the big picture of having that wide net. And if you can't do it, I have paid several people to do things for me.
Right.
It is so worth it. Yeah. I know money is money, but being able to pay someone to say, this is something I don't want to handle, let them handle it. I remember my business partner asked me to do the books a couple years ago. I spent about 3 hours looking at it, and I literally said, if you ever have me do the books again, I will quit. I don't do books. So we pay someone now.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things of, hey, if you have the balance of doing the things and you're outsourcing the things that aren't actually revenue producing things for whatever it is you're doing, having that balance is very, very important.
Yeah. And I think on top of the balance, what I'm also hearing is that's being okay, getting outside of your comfort zone. Because what I hear you saying is it can be really easy to just sit at my desk and answer emails and do stuff. It's really hard for me to go out and meet people on a daily basis or go to networking events or get in front of the camera or do social media. And so it's balance of doing the easy things and the hard things. It's not just balance of doing things.
It's very easy for me to be like, I'm not door knocking because I have these 5 things to do for marketing.
I'm comfy on the couch. I really want to get dressed to go to a networking event. Yeah. Right. There's so many times we can do that. And so I think that's exactly it is being comfortable and understanding that you have to do both. You do have to sit on the couch and study and do stuff, but you also have to get out there and whatever it is, the uncomfortable.
%.
Awesome. So if people want to reach you, what are the best ways for them to find your company and find you?
Yeah. So our website is www.paidprocessing.com. That's paid spelled the cool way, PAYED. Our direct line is, my personal cell phone is 713-454-9990. Or you can call our office line, which goes to basically everyone at the company, 346-600-9624. And those are some of the best ways to reach me. I would say phone calls, if that's what your preference is. You can call or text. I personally reach out to me personally. I'll happily point you in the right direction.
Awesome. And we'll put all that in the info as well. But we appreciate you being on today. You've given us some really good information, not just for business owners, but also for payment processing and what it can do for your company. And it's not just collecting payments. So that's been really awesome. So thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
And this is Level Up with Lydia. And please go follow us at levelup_ with Lydia on Instagram. We are on YouTube. We are on Apple. We are on Spotify. We are on all of the major platforms. So go follow us, like us, share us, and comment, DM us if you're interested in joining, or if you have any topics you want us to talk about. We'd be happy to accept all of those. So thank you guys so much. And this is Level Up with Lydia.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.